Okay, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good to see you. I see a number of the students are missing.
Some of them are on their way.
On their way? Okay, so that's good. I hope they arrive on time. So, you know, there are different levels of organization, right? From smallest to largest. In last lecture, I talked about the chemical level. Atoms, right? Elements, organic, inorganic compounds, right? Chemical reactions, ionic bonds, different types of bonds. We have talked about the chemistry. One step higher is the cellular level. That includes the cells and the organelles. So we'll talk about the cellular level today. Now, first we'll see what is a cell. How to define a cell. Then we'll talk about the parts of a typical cell. We'll talk about the cell membrane, structure of the cell membrane, transport across the cell membrane. You know, cell membrane is a semi-permeable membrane, partially permeable, okay? So it allows certain chemicals pass through it, but not everything. Make sense? That's why it is called semi-permeable. So we'll see how the chemicals cross the cell membrane. That is the transport across the cell membrane. Then we'll see the response of a living cell in three different types of solution: hypotonic, hypertonic, isotonic. If you put a living cell in three different types of solution, how it will respond in those environments. So first, what is a cell? Cell is the smallest structural and functional unit of a living organism. It's the smallest structural and functional unit of a living body. Now, how you know that cell is the smallest unit of living body? I'm sure all of you know that a single cell could stay alive and function individually. Do you know that? A bacteria, right? Single cell is functioning normally, maintaining their life, right? Amoeba, have you heard that? Single cell microorganism, amoeba. So you know that a single cell can stay alive and function. Now if you break the cell membrane of amoeba or bacteria, it will die. Make sense? So that is the smallest unit that can stay alive and survive. So that's why it is the unit, smallest unit of the structure and function. Human body has 50 to 100 trillion cells. Not million, not billion, trillion. Over 200 different types of cells are present in the human body. How they are different? They are different in shape, size, function, and their components inside the cells. So there are over 200 different types of cells are present. One thing is common for all the living cells. Living cells are mainly formed by these four chemicals. We have talked about that in last class, right? Four elements form 96% of body mass. Our body mass is formed by cells and water, of course. So CHO and N, those four elements form most of the part of the cells. Here you see how the cells could be different. Just few examples. If you look top left, those two cells are fibroblasts. They produce connective tissue fibers. You see around them few fibers. So they produce fibers. If you see top right, those round cells, round flat cells are called the red blood cells. Color is red, so color is different than other cells. Shape is different, right? Round and flat. And function is also different. Red blood cells, all of you know, transport gases, oxygen and carbon dioxide. You know that, right? Transportation of gases. So you see how they could be different in shape, color, size, and function. Next one is a cuboidal epithelial tissue. So you see 5 cubical shaped cells, epithelial cells. Okay? If you go down, those two, left side's big one, red color, that's a skeletal muscle cell. Skeletal muscle cell is very long and have multiple nuclei. So if you see inside, you'll see many nuclei. So a long cell with multiple nuclei. If you see smooth muscle in the right side, you see a number of smooth muscle cells. Smooth muscle cells are much smaller and single nucleus in each cell or fiber. So you see even two different types of muscles have different types of cells. Make sense? Skeletal muscle long, multiple nuclei. Smooth muscle short, small, single nucleus inside. Function is same, contraction. Now if you go down on the bottom left, you see a fat cell, yellow color. It is a fat cell. Nucleus is located or attached to the cell membrane, peripherally located nucleus, not in the center. Most of the cells, we see nucleus is in the center, but in this case, you see the nucleus is attached to the membrane. Make sense? But inside the cell, you have fat droplets. Those are the fat tissues provide energy. So function is storage of energy. Fat cells store energy. Make sense? When your body needs, they will release the energy. Bottom right here, you see a macrophage. You know macrophage do what? Phagocytosis. Have you heard that? I mentioned before. Phagocytosis means engulf. Macrophages can engulf the antigens, microorganisms or dead cells. That's why you see macrophage has multiple processes that help them to engulf. Go to top right, a neural cell or neuron or nerve cell, same thing. You see, it has a cell body and multiple processes. Okay? Function is electrical signal transmission. Okay? Electrical transmission of signal. This is a sperm, male sex cell. And you know its function. fertilizing the egg, right? So production of new life. Now you see sperm looks funny. It's interesting. It looks like a baby fish. It can swim. It has a flagella or tail. Okay? And meat piece or body where you have many mitochondria. So a lot of energy is produced here. And this is the nucleus. Nucleus is at the end. That's the head part. Okay? So you see how different cells in your body are different, right? In shape, size, function, different ways. Okay, now the parts of a typical cell. If you see a typical cell, that means most of the cells are like this. Cell has a boundary that is called the cell membrane or plasma membrane. Cell membrane or plasma membrane. Okay? And you have a nucleus, usually in the center, a round membranous structure, which is the nucleus, and cytoplasm in between. Okay? So in between plasma membrane and the nucleus, the part is called cytoplasm. Okay? Now, most of you are already, you have learned or studied cell, right? In your high school or in intro bio. I'll just quickly go over, not in detail. Okay, so nucleus, let's first see the nucleus. Nucleus is called the control center. That means it is the most important part. Control center of the cell. Why it is called the control center? Because the genetic material, DNA, are present in the nucleus. Inside the nucleus, you have a dense structure that is called nucleolus. Nucleolus, okay? Inside the nucleus, a dense structure called the nucleolus. Now, this is the nucleus, and nucleolus is in the center, inside the nucleus, the dense area. This is called nuclear envelope, the covering or membrane. Nuclear envelope. Okay? And in between the nucleolus and nuclear envelope, this part is called nucleoplasm. Nucleoplasm. Okay? It is like, another cell inside the cell. This is the membrane. This is the cytoplasm. This is the nucleus. Now let's see the nucleus. This is the membrane called the envelope or nuclear membrane. Fine. Nucleoplasm, and this is the nucleolus. Okay. So that is the nucleus. Now, in the nucleoplasm and nucleolus, you have chromatins. Chromatins contain, those are thread-like structures, contain DNA. And inside the nucleolus, the chromatins are more densely packed. That's why that area looks dense, okay? More densely packed. Chromatins are more densely packed inside the nucleolus. Okay? In the nucleoplasm, you also have chromatins, but less densely Is it clear? Make sense? Okay. And chromatins contain the genetic materials DNA. Okay. Okay. So let me also write down DNA inside the nucleus, which is a very important component of the cell. Okay, now let's see the cytoplasm. In the cytoplasm, you have membranous and non-membranous organelles. You see there? In the cytoplasm, you have two types of organelles. Some organelles have covering or membrane. Those are called the membranous. Some don't have covering. Those are non-membranous. Just know the name of few of those. Around the nucleus, you have tube-like structures like this. Tube-like structures attached to each other around the nucleus, and those are called endoplasmic reticulum or ER. So, endoplasmic reticulum or shortcut ER, okay, around the nucleus. Many tubes are together, connected together. And the ER has two parts. Some part of ER is covered by tiny dot-like structures like this, and these dots are called ribosomes. Okay, so these are ribosomes. So it is kind of review. I know many of you already know. So you see here, in this part of ER, you have ribosomes on the surface, and this part doesn't have. So that's why this part is called rough endoplasmic reticulum, and this part is called smooth ER, because no ribosome on the surface. Smooth endoplasmic reticulum or ER. Okay, so ER has two parts, rough and smooth. Now, another structure which looks like flattened membranous sacs. Many flattened membranous sacs are like together, and that structure is called Golgi Apparatus. Okay, so this is Golgi Apparatus. Okay, it's like several flattened sacs are piped together. Okay. Another very important organelle, that is called mitochondria. Okay, mitochondria. Let me write it down. Mitochondria. Okay. We have other structures like paroxysms, small sacs. Okay. Okay. Now let's talk about the functions quickly. One or two functions of those important structures. There are more structures in the cytoplasm. I just have shown a few important ones. Okay, those you must know. Okay, so go back to the nucleus. As I have mentioned, that DNA the genetic materials are present in the DNA that store the genetic information. Very important. Now, ribosomes, these tiny dots, ribosomes are responsible for protein manufacturing. Protein manufacture. Okay? So, protein is synthesized or manufactured in the ribosomes. Is it clear? Okay. Now, how the ribosomes manufacture proteins? What kind of protein the ribosome should manufacture? How the ribosome will know? There are many different types of proteins that are produced in the cell. So now, to know that, you need to know what happens in the nucleus. Okay? In the nucleolus, you have another structures or components. Those are very important. Those are called RNA in the nucleolus. Okay, so nucleolus contains RNA. Okay, which is very important for protein manufacturing. Yes.
What does RNA stand for again?
Ribonucleic acid. Okay. So, there are three types of RNA. One is called ribosomal RNA or rRNA. I am writing in simple, ribosomal RNA. Okay. Another is called messenger RNA. And another is called transfer RNA. Okay? So three types of RNA present in the cell. I'm repeating again: ribosomal RNA, messenger RNA, and transfer RNA. Okay? So now, how they work? You see, this is very interesting. Ribosomal RNA produce ribosomes. That's why called ribosomal RNA. Okay, so produce the parts of ribosomes. Here, inside the nucleolus. Okay, so ribosomal RNA produce ribosomes, and those ribosomes come out through the nuclear pore. There are pores or holes in the nuclear envelope. Okay. So they come out and get attached, most of them get attached to the surface of the ER, okay, to make the ER rough. So that is the function of ribosomal RNA. Then messenger RNA. Messenger RNA brings the prescription to these ribosomal RNAs. Those are attached on the ER. And this prescription or plan comes from DNA. So from DNA, this one, messenger RNA, brings the prescription, what kind of protein should be produced by these ribosomes. Okay? So that information is carried by messenger. Makes sense, right? The name messenger RNA will bring the information. Like, you know, if you want to bring, if you want to build a building, you need what? You need the plan, right? The plan, and give it to the engineers, or they make the plan, right? And build the house. Make sense? So it's very similar to that. Okay. So ribosomes build the protein or manufacture the protein, right? But they need to know what kind of protein they should make. Make sense? So that information comes from the DNA, because DNA codes the information. Okay? So DNA, but someone has to carry that information, that plan from DNA and give it to the ribosomes. Make sense? So that's the messenger RNA. Now, what else you need to build the building? Materials, right? Like brick or blocks, you need those things, okay? So, transfer RNA bring the amino acids from the cytoplasm to the ribosomes, because ribosomes got the plan, but now ribosomes need what? The raw materials, right? To build the building, or the bricks or blocks. So the transfer RNA bring the amino acids, because you all know to produce protein you need amino acids, okay? Amino acids joined together, you remember in last class I mentioned, to form protein chains, right? So the amino acids, how many amino acids human body need? Anybody? Human body needs how many different types of amino acids?
30.
I mentioned in last class.
10, 30, 15, 5,
You're saying everything.
1.
In last class I mentioned 20 amino acids. 10 of them are called essential, other 10 are called non-essential amino acids. Do you remember anything? Okay. So, anyway, so the amino acids are carried from the cytoplasm to the ribosomes by the transfer RNA. Make sense? So those are the functions of 3 different types of RNA. So ribosomal RNA are present in the nucleolus and they produce what? Ribosomes. Very simple. Ribosomal RNA produce ribosomes. Is it clear? And those ribosomes will go and get attached to the endoplasmic reticulum surface. Is it clear? And they produce protein. But to produce protein by the ribosomes, they need what? Plant and the raw materials. Is it clear? Plant comes from DNA, right? Remember, plant comes from DNA because DNA is the structure that store the genetic information. Okay. So, from DNA, messenger RNA brings the plant to the ribosomes. Is it clear? And then raw materials, amino acids, are taken from the cytoplasm to the ribosome by transfer RNA. Makes sense, right? Okay. Now, mitochondria. Mitochondria are known as power houses. Why? Because most of the ATPs are produced in the mitochondria. That's why mitochondria are called power houses. So you know the function of ribosomes, manufacturing protein, you know the function of mitochondria, you know the functions of different types of RNA, DNA. Now, ER, rough and smooth. Rough ear, the rough part of ear or endoplasmic reticulum processes proteins. So 2 different things here. If I ask you, who manufactures protein? Who produces the protein? Ribosomes. Remember? Ribosomes, I just mentioned a few times. Ribosomes manufacture protein, right? based on the information coming from DNA and the raw materials coming from the cytoplasm. Is it clear? Okay. After ribosomes manufacture proteins, protein molecules will enter into the rough ear because ribosomes are just attached on rough ear. So protein molecules will enter into the rough ear. And rough ear will process that protein. Okay, so that's why it's a processing the protein. Number one. What does mean processing? Folding, okay, modifying, okay, cutting if it's too long, making it short. Yes, all those belong to processing of proteins. Make sense? It's like a factory. You all know. Factory produce, right? Factory produces the goods, right? And then those are taken to another section to, if something is like making clothes, if something is missing there, right? We'll put it, modify it, right? If it's, something is long, we'll make it short, okay? Fold it, okay? So all those will be done by rough ear. Will be done inside the rough ear. Okay? Processing that part. And then after the protein molecules are processed by rough ear, those molecules will be sent to the Golgi apparatus. Okay? And Golgi apparatus does what? Does the packaging of proteins. So this is the function of Golgi apparatus. The final step, right? In the factory, after manufacturing, processing, right? And then what? Packaging to send out, right? So that packaging part is done by whom? Golgi apparatus. Make sense? Then you tell me, after packaging is done in a factory, what happens next? They're sent to the outside, right? Stores or somewhere from the factory. By big trucks, you see at night, many trucks, right? Taking those to the stores or other places. So what happens, you see, after the proteins enter into the Golgi apparatus send the proteins to the ends, both ends of those flattened sacs, and then what happens, interesting here, these ends get detached from the main body. So now they get detached and form round membranous structures filled with proteins, protein molecules, and these are called vesicles. These are called what? Vesicles. Round membranous sacs filled with protein molecules. Vesicles. Okay? Now, the vesicles will move to the cell membrane like this. Okay, so the vesicles will get attached to the cell membrane here and will rupture to release the protein molecules. It could be hormone or other chemicals. So the protein molecules are released by the rupture of the vesicles, and that is called exocytosis. Exocytosis is the process by which the vesicles are ruptured to release what? The proteins to the outside or chemicals to the outside. Is it clear? Okay, exocytosis. Okay, so you now know the functions of ribosomes, rough endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, vesicles, mitochondria, right? Different types of RNA, DNA. And let's see if anything is missing. This one, smooth ear. Smooth part of ear is responsible for, number one, lipid synthesis. There are a few important functions. Another important function of a smooth ear is detoxification. Detoxification, you know, metabolism produces toxic chemicals, right, inside the cells. We know that metabolism occurs inside the cells, inside the body, and toxic chemicals are produced. Also, sometimes we take the chemicals, for example, if you take a medicine every day, right, there are toxic components in medicines, chemicals that go from outside. So some are produced inside the body, some go from outside, and those need to be detoxified. So smooth ear plays important role in detoxification. Okay. Another is, let me just mention three functions. Another is storage of calcium. Calcium. Okay. So if I ask you, those are three important functions of smooth ear. Paroxysm, small vesicles inside the cells, and just know that paroxysm also help in detoxification. Okay. Let me see any more structure. So just remember the structure of a typical cell. This is the structure, right? And the important functions of different components of it. Make sense? Okay. Do you have any question? So let me quickly review. A typical cell has three parts, right? Outer boundary is called what? Plasma membrane. Very good. And in the center, you have a round structure that is called the nucleus, right? And in between, you have cytoplasm. Is it clear? Okay. Now, nucleus. Let's talk about nucleus. Nucleus is covered by a membrane. That is called nuclear envelope or nuclear membrane, right? And inside the nucleus, you have dense area. That is called nucleolus, right? Nucleolus. And in between nucleolus and the nuclear envelope, that is the nucleoplasm. Make sense? It's like cytoplasm of the cell. Okay. And inside the nucleus, the genetic materials, those are called DNA. Remember, DNA are genetic materials present in the chromatins. Okay. So first chromatins, then DNA. Okay. So in the nucleolus, the chromatins are present in more densely present, okay, than the nucleoplasm. Anyway, so DNA. In nucleolus, remember, also you have RNA. Nucleus also contains what? RNA. Now, how many different types of RNA? You have three, right? Ribosomal RNA produce what? Ribosomes, right? And ribosomes get out and get attached to the mostly rough ear surface. Clear? Okay. Some of them are present in the cytoplasm and attached to other organelles, but mostly on rough ear. Okay, good. Very good. Ribosomal RNA. Now, ribosomal RNA produce ribosomes, and those ribosomes get out and get attached to the rough ear. So ribosomes do what? Protein manufacturing, right? Ribosomes manufacture proteins. Is it clear? Okay. But to manufacture proteins, ribosomes need what? Two things.
Message or transfer.
Message, that's the plan, right? Blueprint or prescription, whatever you say, right? It should receive that order. Comes from, brought by the messenger RNA. Make sense? From the DNA. Because DNA will give it. So that is one. And the raw materials, amino acids to build the protein come from the cytoplasm, and who carries that? Transfer RNA. Make sense? So all those things when are there, ribosomes will produce protein accordingly. Okay. Mitochondria is called what? Powerhouse, because it produces energy ATP, right? Plenty of ADP. Now, rough year. After the ribosomes produce or manufacture protein molecules, those protein molecules enter into rough year. Clear? And rough year does what?
Process proteins.
Yes, processing, right? So manufacturing is ribosome, right? Processing is rough year. Make sense? Two different things. Manufacturing, processing. Processing includes what?
Shipping. Handling.
Folding, cutting, right? Modifying. So those are the functions of rough year. Then the protein molecules from rough year go to Golgi apparatus, right? And packaging part is done by Golgi apparatus. Okay? Golgi apparatus send the protein molecules to both ends, right? And both ends get what? Detached, right? To form what? Round vesicles. Make sense? Vesicles move to the cell membrane. Get attached to the cell membrane, right? And then bursts. Ruptures, right? Vesicle ruptures to release the protein molecules or chemicals to the outside. By that process is called exocytosis. Exo means outside, right? Endo means inside. Exocytosis. Okay, so that's the typical cell. In this picture, you can see a cell and different structures. You see nucleus, nucleolus, nuclear envelope, and you see the pores. I have also mentioned that, right? Around the nucleus, ER, rough ER, you see the ribosomes, and smooth ER, this part, mitochondria, Golgi apparatus, both ends get separated and form vesicles, rupture of the vesicles. Okay, so that's the cell. Now, the cell membrane, the boundary of the cell is given by the cell membrane or plasma membrane. So cell membrane gives the boundary, number one, maintains the shape of the cell and regulates the transport of the chemicals. So those are the important functions of the cell membranes, okay? Separate intercellular and extracellular fluids and regulate the transport across it. In the cell membrane, if you see the structure of a cell membrane, you see this is the structure of a cell membrane. Cell membrane is a phospholipid bilayer. Remember, phospholipid bilayer. This is one phospholipid layer. This is another phospholipid layer in which the proteins are embedded. Okay. If I draw a cell membrane, these are phospholipid molecules. You see phospholipid molecules like this. So how many phospholipid? This is one phospholipid layer, this is another layer. Make sense? This is one phospholipid molecule. Looks like this. So bilayer means two layers of phospholipid in which the proteins. So this is a protein structure in it. Then again you have phospholipids like this. Okay. And two types of proteins are present. Some proteins are deeply inserted in phospholipid. For example, this one is passing all through. And some proteins like this one is loosely attached to this one. So these are two types of proteins. Then this is also a protein, phospholipid. Okay. Now this is the cell membrane. So I am repeating again the structure in one sentence. If I ask you what is the structure of a cell membrane, it is a phospholipid.